I want you to know the ideal posture here. So ear over shoulder, over hip, over knee, over ankle. Know the fancy term, external acoustic meatus over humeral head, over greater trochanter, over lateral condyle, over the lateral malleolus. This is the plumb line. Most people do this with slouching forward head posture, which is very hard on your nervous system, hard on the spine. Go back to your spine article, spine journal that we talked about beginning of the semester. If the spine goes out of place, you're going to infringe upon the nervous system and you're going to have adverse health scores. Okay, so this is not ideal. The good posture is. From the front, you want the shoulders to be even, the pelvis, iliac crest to be even, and the knees to be even. Now, granted, there's no perfect human skeleton mathematically, but you want to try to get to close to this as possible. The better the function, the better the alignment, the better the person is going to operate and how they're going to feel, and the more you're going to decrease their chances for degeneration and arthritic changes and so forth. The more they're like this, the more they're going to have accelerated arthritic changes and degeneration and so forth. Okay, we're going to get into joints and articulations. So joint is also known as an articulation, and all bones except the hyoid bone does join or articulate with another bone. The overall function of a joint is movement. You want them to move, and they're held together by ligaments. The muscles help move our system. So joints are classified in two ways, functionally and structurally. Okay, functionally, they will name these by the amount of movement allowed by the joint. Some joints just move easier or more than others. So, based on the movements, there are three different names: synarthritic, amphiarthritic, and diarthritic. So that actually creates SAD, or SAD, and that stands for symphyarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, and diarthrosis. Okay, synarthrosis is basically immovable or does not move very much. Amphiarthrosis means it's slightly movable, and then diarthrosis moves freely. Okay, or in translation, moves. The S doesn't move that much. The A moves a little bit. The D moves a lot. Synarthrosis and amphiarthritic joints are usually found in the axial skeleton, and the diarthritic joints are usually found in your extremities or the appendicular skeleton, where lots of movement takes place. Okay, structurally you have three joints: fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial. Same kind of thing. Fibrous doesn't move that much, cartilaginous moves a little bit, and synovial joints move a lot. Examples, we'll get to examples at the end. I've got a diagram, but make sure you read through that, the examples of fibrous and cartilaginous joints and synovial. The reason why they call them synovial joints is because they have synovial fluid, like your knees, your knuckles, all that there's synovial fluid in there. So all synovial joints have four things in common. They have cartilage, they have a fibrous joint capsule, they have a joint cavity, and reinforced with ligaments. Okay, so joint injuries can hurt everything that you see there. Okay, now that's my world. I see a lot of joint injuries, whether it's in the hand, the wrist, the elbow, shoulder, back, neck, sacrum, SI joints, knees, ankles, whatever. I see lots and lots and lots of joint injuries. So at first, it is important to, if it's an acute injury, do your anti-inflammatory protocols. And that's going to help decrease the swelling, that fibrous joint capsule, the synovial fluid, all that stuff, decrease swelling. And then down the road, you can start doing some heat and some other therapies once it gets more into the chronic phase of care. Okay, so cartilaginous joints like the where rib 1 comes in to the manubrium there, your vertebra, so the discs, pubic symphysis. Fibrous would be like your cranial sutures, where the cranial bones come together. Down here, the distal tib fib, considered a fibrous joint. Synovial joints like the shoulder, glenohumeral joint, elbow, wrist, get your axial skeleton. Okay, bursa. We have lots of bursa in our body. Now, on a separate lecture video, we're going to go back to our Essential Anatomy app and go over a bunch of bursa. But they are these sacs that are filled with synovial fluid, and that they are found where there's a lot of friction. So this helps to reduce friction. Tendon sheaths. So picture this like a sword and sheath. You have the tendon, and it has to go in a sheath, and that helps with gliding. It's supposed to also reduce friction. Okay, the types of synovial joints. The name is based on the shape. So we have a plane joint, hinge, pivot, condyloid, saddle, and ball and socket. A plane joint, it's where the articular surfaces are flat, like your planes, like your Kansas plains, flat surfaces. Allows for slipping or gliding motions, like your wrist. Your wrist bones are considered a plane joint. Hinge joint allow for angular movement in one plane, such as the elbow. Pivot is typically a convex onto a concave, and it's uniaxial, where it can turn on its own axis, so like a radius and the ulna, or C1 on C2, so pivot there. Condyle means knuckle, so your condyloid joints, it's where both surfaces are oval, but one is concave, the other is convex, and it will allow for some side-to-side, back-and-forth motion, like your metacarpophalangeal joint. Saddle joint, this is my term here, concave on concave-ish. So when you go to look at a diagram of your thumb, you'll see what I mean by concave on concave-ish, creating a saddle joint. Ball and socket, a sphere head fits into a socket. A round socket is multi-axial, lots of range of motion. So your shoulder and your hip are examples. So glenohumeral joint and femoral head and acetabulum.